Hello and welcome to Gadget Joe, and today we're feeling really strong. In today's video we're taking a look at another offering by Strong. Now we recently covered one of their 4G mobile hotspots, the portable routers that you take around with you for internet wherever you go. This time around we're going to take a look at one of their 4K Android TV boxes. Now this is basically the equivalent to what would be a firestick TV, or alternatively a smart TV. Now if you've got a smart TV, which most people nowadays do have, they already have apps on them, so you have things like Netflix, YouTube, Disney Plus and stuff like that. But you'll also be aware of Amazon Fire Sticks. Now the advantage of Fire Sticks is that they have a more diverse availability in terms of apps, but again they are also still quite limited to some of the capabilities and functions that they can offer. So the solution to that is an Android TV box. Now the advantage of an Android TV box is that you can really sort of customize it to exactly what you need, and there's a huge amount of options available for customization, and also the specifications of the devices themselves are generally much more capable than the likes of the TVs or the Fire Sticks. So what we have here is the Strong Leap S3 UK model, which is obviously the Leap S3. It's the UK variant. It is a 4K capable box. But what really interests me about this device over some other Android TV boxes, because the marketplace is absolutely flooded with the likes of Android TV boxes, especially if you go down the likes of Temu or Amazon, you'll be able to get all sorts of no-name brands, but some of them can be very expensive. Now this one has a lot of key features. It has 4K functionality, it has up to 5,000 apps compatibility with this, and it also supports Dolby Vision and much more. Now what we're going to do in this video is basically take a look at the unboxing experience. I'll go through the specifications of the device, and then after that we're going to hook it up to the computer so that we can get a screen grab of exactly what the menu system looks like on this, and we'll show a few of the apps working. Now it's going to be quite limiting what we can actually show on YouTube due to copyright rules, but we'll do what we can, and then obviously at the end of that we'll do a quick result conclusion of the box itself. Now again, going back to the key thing about this device is the fact that you can pick this up for around £35 to £45, which is an absolute steal. The fact that you can get all your apps and compatibility in one straight out of a box for £35 to £45 is an absolute no-brainer. Now hopefully it works as well as they advertise it to work, so obviously we're going to find that out very shortly in this video, but it's very promising. There's some really good specifications from this device, and obviously the customization of the device is definitely something I'm quite excited to see. So enough for talking about the basics of this. Let's change the view of the camera, get the box open, see exactly what you get inside the box for that price point, and then obviously we'll get it set up on the system and we'll see just how well it actually performs. So as you can see, the box is visually quite stunning. It's got a really nice, bright, vibrant, colourful aesthetic to it. It does feature some basic key information, including the branding itself, the model number, a image of the device itself, which is quite a compact device. Obviously we're going to take a look at that in a moment. It is obviously powered by Google TV, which is Android TV, and then obviously you have some information here showcasing some of the available apps such as Netflix, YouTube, Disney Plus, Prime Video and much more. It does also feature Hey Google, which means that the controller itself does indeed have a microphone. Moving to the side, it's just a bit of branding which is also mirrored on the other side, and on the back there's some key information about the device itself, including some of the general specifications, including the Wi-Fi capabilities, the operating system and some of the flash memory available. Then you have an image above that that shows off some of the key connectors for the device itself. Now this does come in a sleeve box. The actual box itself is nice and plain. It's just a black box, as you can see here. We open this up and you get started with a warranty guide, safety instructions, user manual, and then you have the device itself. Now this little unit here is the actual receiver. This is the Android box itself, and as you can see, it is nice and compact. It's actually really quite a small device altogether. The actual design of it is quite plain. It's actually quite nice. It will sort of hide away quite nicely behind the TV, underneath the TV, or on a shelf somewhere, to really sort of give itself a bit of a discreet look. Now on the top, it's quite plain. You do have an LED function light on the top here, and on the sides you have the Strong branding at the top, which you see here. Move to this side, there's nothing on this side. On here you have some of the rear I/O. You have a SPDIF output here, a HDMI port here, a LAN port here, and a 12 volt 1 amp power connector here. Going to the other side, you have a USB panel. On the bottom, there's some key information in terms of the serial number for the device, and obviously the model serial numbers and more on the bottom, with some little rubber feet to keep it into position, so when it's there, it doesn't really move, and they're actually quite effective. As you can see, I cannot move that along. The rubber feet do hold it nice and tight. Next, you get a little bit of cardboard that hides everything in there. You get the batteries included, which is nice to see for the controller. You then also get a power lead, which is for the power in the device, obviously. You then also get a HDMI cable included. And then last but not least, you get the controller itself. Now the controller is quite a nice looking controller, as far as controllers can go. It's a nice compact size. It's a little bit bigger than the actual device itself. It is a nice design with a matte black finish, and then obviously the white accents on the controls here. Now you do see at the top that you've got the power button and the source button. That will enable you to switch through different sources and inputs on your TV. You do have the Hey Google button itself here, which you would press to basically allow the what would effectively be Siri or OK Google from your mobile phone. And then the microphone is just above that here, the little pinprick on the top here. You've got user profiles and settings, and then there's a big scroll wheel here. Well, it doesn't really scroll, just a directional pad which is in the shape of a wheel here, and then there is also a button in the middle which will function as your select button. There is a home key underneath that, a return, and then a TV button effectively. I suppose you could probably program them to whatever you need to as well. On the left you have a volume rocker button which is up and down, and then a channel up and down next to that, with a mute button next to it. Then you have 4 preset buttons which you can probably change the programs of if you need to, but as you can see here, you've got YouTube, Netflix, Prime Video and Disney Plus. And then opening the back is where you put the batteries in. It is a Bluetooth controller, which is how it connects to the actual device itself. It connects via Bluetooth, which means that you don't have to then point it directly at the device itself. So let's talk about the specification of the Leap S3. I will flash up on the screen the information if you wish to pause it and read it for yourself. The device is nice and compact, as mentioned before, coming in at just 179 grams in weight and sitting in at just 96 by 96 by 20.8 millimeters thick. It is running Android TV version 11, powered by an AM Logic S905Y4 quad-core CPU running at a 2 GHz clock speed. The graphics are provided by an ARM G31 MP2 GPU chipset and has 2 GB LPDDR RAM to keep it all running smoothly and effectively. It does also feature a 16 GB eMMC storage drive too. The S3 has a plethora of video compatibility formats so that any media will play without any issues on the device. All up to 4K 60Hz, it will run at lower resolutions naturally too, but if you have the TV or monitor to do so, then 4K is most definitely the choice to go with. What's more is that it will support high dynamic range with HDR10 and HDR10 Plus functionality. Audio and video is also enhanced with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos for a better audio and visual experience. Connectivity is pretty generous too, with Bluetooth 5.0 functionality for connecting the remote and any gamepads or controllers, keyboards and so on. It also has Wi-Fi that can run across 2.4 or 5 GHz frequency range. It's also a very low power system thanks to that DC 12 volt 1 amp power source, and at full power it only consumes 7 watts. It also has Chromecast functionality built in, so you can display and cast your mobile phone or tablet straight to the S3. Once you have the S3 plugged in and connected to the TV via HDMI, you will see the welcome screen. Select your preferred language and then your region through the extensive list. Now you can either set up the device via the TV itself by filling in your account details, or alternatively downloading Google Home to your phone and scanning the QR code. The latter way is much easier. Not only does it avoid using the on-screen keyboard, which can be tedious regardless of the device, but it also auto-signs you into the account without having to remember any passwords, which is very useful. Once you have done that, it will display as connected on the TV and connect to the wireless network, or Ethernet if you have it connected. Your TV will then continue to set itself up and you are good to go. The process can take a little time dependent on the options that you choose to set it up, but it's a pretty simple process. Next, it will ask you to set up your remote to control the audio and power to your TV. Now it will install all the apps you chose to install previously. Again, this can take a few minutes. When that is done, you are presented with the Android or Google TV homepage. The Google homepage isn't to everybody's taste, but I think it's pretty intuitive myself. It's more an issue of the fact that you may be used to how things were before this on other devices. It features lots of top picks for you, including suggestions from the likes of your YouTube viewing and subscriptions. Go down and you have a list of your apps installed on the device currently. Going down again, you have top selling movies you can buy or rent. Then below that is popular movies and shows. Then recommended videos on YouTube, recently uploaded, a breaking news tab, then some suggestions based on things you like, and much more. They also offer free ad-supported movies too via multiple apps. Clicking the asterisk symbol on your remote brings up your settings, which opens here. You have a screensaver tab, which if you click, loads up high detailed images with a time and temperature tab in the corner that can be playing when not in use. Return with a back symbol on your remote to see the settings tab again. Here you can access Wi-Fi, Bluetooth shortcuts or any updates. Click the cog symbol at the top to open Extended Settings menu. Here you can dive deeper into the device settings. You can change the display output. Advanced display settings will allow you to change the resolution. Here I increased it from 1080p to 4K 30Hz. Bear in mind this is through a capture card, so 4K 60 wasn't an option for me. You can also change the settings from SDR to HDR, but again I am unable to select HDR due to my current setup for recording. You can also change your audio settings here too. Go back again and we can now access network and internet, accounts and sign in, privacy details and then app settings. Here we can change app settings and restrictions and also allow external downloads too. Now we have system settings, which allows you to set captions, change your text contrast, enable text to speech and talkback and more. Go down and we can see more details such as the model, which is a 4K Google TV box running Android TV 11. The kernel version, Android TV operating system build and the Netflix ESN. You can then change the date and time or language. I quickly changed it to English UK here, and you can also change your keyboard settings to change the input. Now we have storage, and it says here we have just 9.6GB of storage instead of a 16GB as advertised. 1.1GB is on apps and 8.5GB is usable, and this is pretty normal and nothing to worry about, as a good 6GB is saved for the operating system. You can enable ambient mode to display selected photos, art gallery albums and more, such as weather, time, personal photos or slideshows for when the device is not in use. There is an energy saver function, which basically turns off the display after an allotted time slot of inactivity. Cast allows you to cast your mobile device to the Leap S3 and effectively mirror your phone screen to your TV. You can then restart your system here too. You can also add additional remotes here too. This is especially useful for if you wish to game on this device, so you can add a Bluetooth gamepad or controller, or alternatively you could add a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard too. Go back to the main screen and you can then cycle across the tabs at the top labelled for you: movies, TV shows, apps and library. The apps tabs takes you to your currently installed apps and also allows you to search through the app library to add more to your device. Here you can either browse the featured apps such as Spotify, Paramount, Twitch, TikTok, Google Meets and much more. It will also populate a list recommended for you based on your Google usage. This has apps such as a TV browser to browse the web from your TV, file explorers, managers, VLC and much more. There is a submenu for movies and TV apps for streaming movies and TV shows, a stream playlist that is good for podcasts, audiobooks, music playback apps and much more alike. Now we have a must-have game submenu that has a few suggestions. Note here though that they will install to the device, but they do need a gamepad or a controller connected to play properly. Just remember that this is a TV box though, and that you won't get any particularly amazing games here. You can alternatively search for apps that you want. So for example, I like my wrestling, so I type in WWE and it will open up the WWE app that I can download to watch that through. To install it is as simple as clicking install. You can also click the Google Assistant button on your remote, and it will allow you to either type in or speak a command such as Netflix, YouTube, or you can name a favourite actor and it will show you any films containing that actor. And that's pretty much the entirety of the video for the Strong Leap S3, a very solid, capable device. When we put it to the test, it really did show its capability with the fact that you have that quad-core 2GHz CPU in there and obviously the graphics card. The 16GB memory should be more than enough for pretty much everything you need. Now, some people might be a bit disappointed with obviously only having effectively 8.5GB of usable space, but that's pretty normal in devices like this. Even your mobile phone, you could have a mobile phone that says it's got 128GB of memory, but realistically only a chunk of that is actually usable, because a good chunk of any storage on any device is the operating system itself. 8.5GB should be more than enough to install a ridiculous amount of apps on there, and obviously even a few games if you do wish to play them. When it comes to gameplay on the device, I didn't have any controllers to connect it to it, but I'd imagine with a GPU or graphics chipset that's included, it should be able to play basic games pretty well. It's effectively running them very similar to one of the older Android mobile phone devices. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it's not going to run any modern titles. It's not designed for that, but it is something nice to have if you just wish to play a little bit of gameplay when you've been watching your movies or your videos or anything like that. The fact that it is Android and you have that functionality to be able to install up to 5,000 apps and also some additional apps if you do wish to do so, but generally speaking you do have the functionality to install pretty much anything you want to on a device like this. It's also quite good if you are a business owner and you want to have something running on your shop point of sales or your displays. You can then pretty much program anything to run on this and obviously control it through that, so you could have a shop display, some videos playing on some TVs on for advertising, anything like that. It is a pretty functional and robust little device, and it's definitely, in fact, if you put this in front of me and you didn't tell me the price point and then let me explore how it works and all the specifications of it, I would probably have put this at a slightly higher price point. I would have said that this was easily worth around £70 to £80. The fact that you can pick them up for between £35 and £45, £50-ish is an absolute steal, and it's definitely something I can definitely recommend. Also, the only thing I would probably change about this is not really a change to the device itself, is potentially have some sort of mounting options. If you could effectively stick this to the back of your TV or have it mounted to the back of your TV or somewhere like that to really sort of hide it away, it would be a nice little addition, but that's not something that Strong particularly need to do. You can buy double-sided foam pads that you can stick to the back and do that with it anyway. Other than that, the device is a very solid offering, and it gets a massive thumbs up from me here at Gadget Joe. It's again a very easy to recommend device. It's really easy to use. It's really easy to customize. It does have some nice features, obviously, such as the ambient wallpapers, ambient screensavers, and you've got energy saving options in there. You do have the voice control as well through the Google Assistant button here. The fact that you can just simply say a name of an artist or an actor and it will bring up any videos or content that has that said actor or artist. Again, this is an ideal feature if, for example, you're looking for a song and you don't know the name of it, or you're looking for a movie that's got someone in that you really like and you can't remember the name of the movie. You can just think, right, okay, I know it's sung by this person or it's got this person starring in it. You can do that and find it through that way. The video playback is absolutely fantastic. You do have HDR capability and HDR10 Plus capability, so there's some really nice visuals that you can get from the device. 4K 60Hz. Obviously, my test setup was slightly different because it was running through a capture card to my computer so that I could record the screenplay of this. So your experiences will differ and be a little bit sharper than what you see on this video here. The Google experience in general is much more refined than it used to be as well. The fact that you can sign in pretty much everything by scanning the QR code on your phone to then sign everything in is hugely more efficient, and it makes the setup process so much more simple, because let's face it, using the on-screen keyboard on any device, it doesn't matter what device it is an absolute pig to deal with. You can do it, but it's a bit of a nightmare and it does take a bit of time, so having that functionality to be able to make it a lot easier is definitely very welcome. So this is a very solid offering by Strong. Again, a huge, easy recommendation from me at Gadget Joe. So if you're just looking to upgrade your smart TV to a device that can have more apps, or alternatively the same thing with a Fire Stick, or even if you don't have a smart TV or a Fire Stick and you want to be able to watch your apps on your computer or a monitor, then look no further than a device like this. It really is pretty cheap, about the same price as probably a large takeaway, and you're getting a magnificent amount of usage and functionality from it. So as always, I will leave a link in the description down below so that you can go and grab one for yourself. And obviously don't forget, while you're down there, to click like on the video and obviously subscribe, because we have lots more coming, lots of exciting content coming and some giveaways as well. And that's pretty much it. I've been Gadget Joe. This has been the Strong Leap S3 Android TV box, and until next time, goodbye.